All right, hello everyone. So let's just do this statistics test together, just so you know kind of how to answer all these questions, all right? So let's look at question one. We're given some descriptions and some sampling methods, and all we're asking is to match the description to the sampling methods. So let's look at the first description. Mr. Pagano wants to survey athletes in the NFL. He selects 3 teams and samples every player from those 3 teams only. So this reminds me of when we talked about populations and we split up the population into groups or clusters, and then we would sample every person from a few of those clusters, but no one else. Okay, we'd have, for example, 5 classrooms, and we would survey all the students in those 5 classrooms, but no other classes. All right, so it's very convenient for the person who's doing the sample, but they're not going to ask, everyone in the school. Okay, so this is very obviously going to be cluster sampling. The second description, I'm going to survey Montreal bus drivers. I'm sampling the driver of every 4th bus that passes by LHA. So every driver that I'm sampling is equally distanced from the driver before that I'm sampling and the driver after that I'm sampling. Okay, it's every 4th bus. So they're going to be equally distanced from each other, every bus driver that I'm sampling. This is going to be, therefore, systematic sampling. Okay. Now, the third description, I'm serving teachers at LHA. I group up the teachers by department, and I'm going to sample 10% of each department. So some of you might have thought this was cluster sampling, okay? But the difference is that I'm not just going to sample a few people from, I'm not going to sample everyone from the math department and everyone from the English department and then no one else. I'm going to sample 10% of every department. So this is not cluster sampling because of that. Okay, I'm getting people from every department. What's going to be interesting to notice is because I'm sampling 10% of each department, the proportions in my original population are going to be maintained in my sample. Okay, so that's going to remind you of stratified sampling. Okay, it's going to be like kind of when we did that question with what was it, the Sec 1, Sec 2, Sec 3, Sec 4, and 5s in the quiz. All right, that's just the idea. Okay, if we have, for example, 50% of my population was in the math department, then 50% of my sample should be in the math department as well. All right, that's the main idea. Now, the fourth description is this. Blindfolded, Mr. Pagano throws a dart at a class list and samples the student whose name was struck by the dart. Now, what's really important to mention is that he's blindfolded, okay? He's not aiming at a particular student. He's just randomly chucking a dart at a list, and whoever it hits, he's going to sample. So this is completely random. This is going to be simple random sampling. So our answer is 1B, 2C, 3A, 4D. That's going to be A here, okay? Now, question 2. A stratified sample of 36 athletes is requested for the table below. So we're given some sports, we're given the number of athletes that play each sport, and we want to know what is the number of badminton players in our sample. So this is going to be a stratified sample question. Our sample size is 36, okay? And the strata that we're interested in is the badminton players. That's going to be this row right here. So let's find what n is, because I always like to start with that. I always recommend you start with that when you see the word stratified sample. So we add 65 to 70 to 55 to 100 to 110. Okay, try it on your calculator if you have it out. That's going to give you 400. Okay, 400, if it's going to let me right here, 400 athletes. So now let's use the formula that we've used countless times before. It's the number in strata over n, which is the population size. That's going to be equal to x, which is the number of people I want to sample in that strata. Okay, and here's going to be the sample size. So number in strata, I've circled it already, it's 100. N, we've calculated it, it's 400. Here I've got x. Underneath, I've got my sample size, that's 36. So now we can cross multiply. We get 3600 is equal to 400x. but I just want to know what x is. So I'm going to divide both sides by 400 here. So 400 over 400 is just going to be 1. So that leaves me with 1x, or just x, on the right side of the equation here. Okay. And on the left side, I have 3,600 divided by 400. That's going to be 9. Okay. Next question. So I'm going to grade some hockey players with a weighted mean, and each skill is given a different weight depending on how important I think they are. So the table on the next page, I should say like the table below, okay, lists the skills, their weights, and how the Montreal Canadiens captain Nick Suzuki scored in each category. So here's the weights, right? Let me use a different color here. Let's use purple. So here's the weight, and here's the score. So I want to know, what grade did Nick Suzuki obtain? So let's use the formula that we taught you for weighted means. This should be on your memory aid that you've all made, hopefully. Okay, so weighted mean is equal to the sum of xi, that's a score, okay, multiplied by wi, that's the weight associated to that score. That's how much that score is worth. I'm going to divide that by w, that's just the total w, is the sum of all the weights. Here's a trick I told you in class. If the weights are given in percentage, okay, in percentage, they're always going to add up to 100. You don't even have to put it into your calculator, okay? It's always going to add up to 100. So we know it's going to be added up to 100 here. So let's do the numerator. We've got xi times wi, so we've got 90 times its weight is 35 plus 94 times 20 plus 91 times 30. I'm running out of space here. Let me move this over here. Oh, that's not right. Over here. All right, and maybe I could extend this line a little bit. Okay, and we're gonna add that to 86 times 15. All right, so 90 times 35, that's 3,150, plus 94 times 20, that's 1,880. 91 times 30, that's going to be 2,007. Oh, I wrote equals here. That should be plus 2,730. Okay. And 86 times 15, that's going to be 1,290. Okay. And we're still going to divide that by 100. So let's add up our numerator, those four numbers together. So 3,150 plus 1,880 plus 2,730 plus 1,290. That's going to be 9,050 divided by 100. That's going to be 90.5. So my answer is D. Okay. So my answers are A, D, and D. Okay. Spells the word add. I don't know if anyone noticed. Okay, so question 4, we're on our short answers now. So Marie wants to apply to the prestigious Hum Institute of Mathematics. This school has an odd application policy. Your weighted mean, okay, let's circle that, weighted mean. This is a weighted mean question. It has to be exactly 83%. So Marie receives the following grades. So you've got your weights, you've got your scores. Notice you're missing something here, right? We don't know what that is. So this should be a hint that we're working backwards, okay? Not just working backwards from a weighted mean. So the formula, like we always say, is going to be weighted mean is equal to the sum of xi wi over w. What is w? That's going to be the sum of my weights. In this case, they're given in credits. They're not given in percentage. So we have to add these up. 4 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3, that's 13, okay? So let's start this question. What is my weighted mean? That's going to be this number right here. That's 83. That's going to be equal to, underneath we have our total weight is 13. So now let's start by multiplying all of our scores and credits together. We've got 91 times 4 plus 72 times 1 plus 80 times 2 plus 67 times 3 plus x times 3. Okay? So here we've got 83 is equal to, what is this? That's 91 times 4 is 364 plus 72 plus 160 plus 201 plus 3x. That's all divided by 13. So 364 plus 72 plus 160 plus 201, that's 797. Okay? Let me write down another line here. So 83 is equal to 797 plus 3x over 13. So let's cross multiply here. We get 13 times 83. What is 13 times 83? That's 1079 is equal to 797 plus 3x. We're going to subtract this 797 from both sides. So 1079 minus 797. Okay, so 1079 minus 797. That's going to be equal to 282. And now we're going to divide 282 by 3. And so that's going to leave me here with 94. Okay? We divided 282 by 3. So 94, this is 94%. Okay? That's my final answer. Now, question 5. So the table below reports the amount of time students from LHA generally spend in front of a screen each day. What is the mean amount of screen time of the students at LHA? So let's start by filling out this table. Okay, so to do that, right, we need to start by doing the center. This is what we're going to call our CI. Number of students is what I'll call our NI. So to find my CI, I'm going to take these two numbers here in my interval, in my class. I'm going to add them up, 0 plus 2, and I'm going to divide that by 2. That's going to give me 1. Okay, here I have 2 plus 4 over 2. That's going to give me 3. 4 plus 6 divided by 2. That's going to give me 5. 6 plus 8 over 2. That's going to give me 7. 8 plus 10 over 2. That's going to give me 9. Please try this out yourself if you have a calculator. Okay, make sure you're adding the numerator first. Okay, find what that number is and then divide by 2. Or use brackets. Okay, so do something like 0 plus 2 divided by 2 on your calculator. Because if you don't use your brackets, okay, if you don't use your brackets and you do something like this, 2 plus 4 divided by 2 on your calculator, what it's going to do is it's going to do this first, which is going to give you 2. And 2 plus 2 is 4. And obviously 4 is not the middle value between 2 and 4, right? That doesn't make any sense at all. So make sure you're either adding 2 plus 4 first, getting 6, and then dividing 6 by 2, which is 3, or you use your brackets, all right? But if you don't, it's all gonna go crazy, okay? So try this yourself, make sure you're getting these numbers, all right? Now, CI/NI, we're gonna take our CI multiplied by our NI. So 1 times 310, that's just gonna be 310. 3 times 425 is gonna be 1,275. 5 times 550 is 2,750. 7 times 215, that's 1,505. And 9 times 80, that's going to be 720. So let's find the two sums that we're interested in. That's going to be n. We're going to add up all these numbers in this row here, in this column, I mean. So 310 plus 425 plus 550 plus 215 plus 80, we get 1,580 students that we've sampled. Now we also need the sum of CI/NI. In case you're wondering why I'm finding my sum of CI/NI, is because the question is asking for the mean. Okay, I think I forgot to read that question out. Or maybe I did, but I forgot to underline the mean. So remember, we're looking for the mean. We're not looking for the mode. We're not looking for the median. It's just the mean. And what's my formula for mean when I'm dealing with groups, grouping by classes? It's going to be Mean is the sum of Ci and I over n. Okay, so we need the sum of Ci and I, we need n. So we found n, we just want the sum of Ci and I. So 310 plus 1275 plus 2750 plus 1505 plus 720, that's going to be equal to 6,560. And so now we just have to take these two numbers that we got from summing up our columns and just plugging it into this formula. Okay, so we get sum of Ci and I over n is 6,560 over 1,580. Okay, and that's going to be 4.15. We're going to keep two numbers after my decimal. We're not going to round it. Okay, that's my answer. Now, moving onwards to part C. So, data was collected on how many minutes it takes students to get to LHA. The data distribution below represents the responses Mr. Hum received from a sample of students. We want to know the estimated mean from the table, the modal class, the median class, and we're going to ask two criteria, and we want to see if we meet those criteria. So, let's start by filling out this table. Usually a big hint when we give you a table. So, here we're going to have the center, like we did above. Here we're going to have our Ci and I. And here we're going to have our positions. Okay? So, let's go through these one row at a time. So, 0 to 15, that, remember, is just the interval from 0 to 15. It's all the numbers from 0 to 15, including 0, because we're hugging the 0. Not including 15, we're hugging away from that 15. So which numbers fall in there? We've got one number. Okay, let's go through the rows here. Yeah, we've got one number. Okay, 15 to 30, which numbers go in there? Now we're including that 15. We've got 1. We're not going to do this one. That's excluded here, right? So we're going to ignore that one for now. We've got 2. Okay, moving onwards here, we've got 3, 4, 5. Oh wait, I think I missed one here. 6. Okay, so we got 6. Next row, including 30, excluding 45. So we've got 1. We're not going to include this 45 here. We've got 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 5. And here we've got including 45, excluding 60. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And so that just leaves me with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we've got 1, 6, 5, 4, 5. Our centers. What is the center of each class? Like we did above, we're just going to take 0 plus 15 divided by 2. That's going to be 7.5. 15 plus 30, divide that by 2. That's going to be 22.5. 30 plus 45 divided by 2, 37.5. 45 plus 60 divided by 2, that's 52.5. And 60 plus 75, divide that by 2, that's going to be 67.5. Okay? So now we're going to take our Ci, multiply it by our Ni. So 1 times 7.5 is 7.5. 6 times 22.5, that's 135. 5 times 37.5, that's 187.5. 4 times 52.5, that's 210. And last but not least, 5 times 67.5, that's 337.5. Okay. So, now let's do our positions real quick. We're going to start at 1. Where do we end off? Our frequency is 1, so we end at 1. After the number 1 is number 2. What's the number above the number we're looking for is 1. We're going to add that to our frequency. So 1 plus 6, that's going to be 7. Okay, 7. After 7 is 8. 7 plus 5 is 12. After 12 is 13. 12 plus 4 is 16. After 16 is 17. 16 plus 5 is 21. Let's add up my frequency, make sure we got the right number. 1 plus 6 is 7, plus 5 is 12, plus 4 is 16, plus 5 is 21. We've got 21 here and here. They match up. We're good to go. If you want to double check, you can look at your numbers up here. We've got 3 numbers here, 3 rows, I mean. We've got 7 columns. So 3 times 7 is also 21. We've got 21 numbers for sure. We checked it 3 different ways, okay? Now, let's find the sum of CI and I. I'm pretty sure that's going to be useful later, okay? So 7.5 plus 135 plus 187.5 plus 210 plus 337.5. That's 877.5. So let's scroll down. What is the estimated mean from the table? So we're not asking you to add all these numbers up and divide by 21. We're asking you to estimate using the table. So 877.5 divided by 21, that's going to be my CI/NI over N, okay? And that's going to be 41.79. Okay. So what is my modal class? That's just going to be the class that contains the most numbers. So I'm going to look at my frequency. Which class was the most frequent? That's going to be over here, 6, right? That's the biggest number. It contains 6 numbers. So what class was that? That's this one, 15 to 30, okay? Don't write 6, write the class, 15 to 30, okay? So the modal class, and remember it's a class, not the mode. I'm not asking you to scroll up here and say, oh yeah, 43 came up twice, so 43 is my mode. That's not what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to find the class, the modal class. So that's going to be, like I said, 15 to 30. And it contains 6 numbers. Okay, what is my median class? So what's my N? N is 21, right? Remember, N is 21. That is odd. So when it's odd, all we do is N over 2. That's 21 over 2 is going to be 10.5. We round it up to the 11th position. So where is my 11th position? Thank God we have a column here. Positions, that's going to be 11 is going to be between 8 and 12. What class was that? Is this one over here, 30 to 45. Okay? So this is going to be 30 to 45. That's the class that contains my median. That's my answer. Okay? So let's look at question D. The estimated mean time for students to get to school is greater than 40 minutes. That's the first criteria. The second criteria is more than 20% of students take 60 minutes or more, 60 or more minutes to get to LHA. All right, and if we meet those 2 conditions, then we get an express bus service. So let's think about the first one. We want to see, is the estimated mean time bigger than 40? So let's scroll up. Look at that. From A, we got the estimated mean time already. It's 41.79. We don't have to do anything else. No other calculations. We just say yes. Okay? Yes, 41.79 is bigger than 40. And you can put a smiley face too if you want. Okay? And the second one, more than 20% of students take 60 minutes or more to get to LHA. So how do I find the number of students that take more than 60 minutes to get to school? Well, here's the amount of time it takes in minutes to get to school. 0 to 15. They're not taking more than 60 minutes. These people aren't taking more than 60 minutes. These people are definitely not taking more than 60 minutes. And these ones aren't either. These are 45 to 60 minutes, not including 60. Okay? These are still below 60. This group, however, people between 60 to 75 minutes, that's above 60 minutes. There's 5 students. So we've got 5 students out of 21 who are taking longer than 60 minutes. So 5 over 21 times 100. Okay, how much is that? That's going to be 23.8%. So you could say 23.8% is greater than 20. So yes, we hit both. And so yes, we do get a express bus service, okay? And that's how you answer question D. Now, question 7. I'm comparing the test marks of 2 sections. The students of the winning section will receive ice cream sandwiches. The winning section is the one with the greater sum of their mean, median, and mode. So remember, sum just means we're going to add things together. So what I want is to find the mean, the median, and the mode of each section. We're going to add them all up, get a score. Okay, so we're going to add the mean. First, we get the mean. We add that to the mode, add that to the median. We get a score. Okay, we do the same thing for the other class. We compare the scores, see which one has the bigger score. Now, obviously, if we're dealing with classes like these ones, we have intervals. Okay, we can't add intervals to numbers, right? We can't say 60 to 70 plus 50. This does not make any sense whatsoever. It's not a number plus a number. It's like a weird like class plus a number. Okay, so what we're gonna do for section 1 is we're gonna find the modal class and the median class, and what we're gonna add is not the class itself, but the middle number, the center value. Okay, so let's start with section 1. So we want to find what? The mean first. So to do that, we need to find n. Okay, so 5 plus 7 plus 9 plus 8, that's 29. So let's find, well, we need center and we need the ci, ni, right? So this is my ni here. So let's add a couple columns ourselves. Okay, we're not always going to give you all the columns you need. Here we're going to have ci, ni. So what is my center? I'm going to take 60 plus 70 divided by 2. At this point, you should be able to do these yourselves on a calculator. All right, this is going to be 65. 70 plus 80 divided by 2, it's 75. This is 85, and that's going to be 95. Okay, so 5 times 65, that is 325. 7 times 75, that's 525. 9 times 85, that is 765. And 8 times 95, that's 760. Okay, so the sum of ci and I is going to be how much? We're going to take those 4 numbers in my ci and I column, and we're going to add them all up together. That's going to be 2,375. So my mean is going to be the sum of ci and I over n. That's going to be 2375 over 29. That's going to give me 81.90. Okay, we're not going to round it to 82. We're going to keep it as 81.90. Now, let's find my mode, or my modal class, I mean, right? So, which number, or which class has the highest frequency? That's going to be this class. It has 9, right? So, my modal class is 80 to 90. What was the center value of that class again? Well, we found the center. It's going to be right here. That's 85. So we can say the number we're going to be adding later to find my score is 85. Okay. And last but not least, let's find my median class. So how do I find my median? Once again, we're going to have to look at my n. N is 29, which is odd. So we have to do n over 2. So 29 over 2 is 14.5. You round that up to the 15th position. So in this case, we haven't made a position column. We can make one ourselves. So position column here, okay? And we can add these little lines. It does not have to be perfect. We start at 1. We end at 5. After 5 comes 6. And here we have 5 plus 7 is 12. After 12 is 13. 12 plus 9 is 21. After 21 is 22. 21 plus 8 is 29. 29 and 29 match up. We're good to go. So 15th position, where is that going to be? That's going to be between 13 and 21. So my median class is going to be 80 to 90 as well. So 80 to 90. And like before, the center value is 85. So my score for my section 1 is going to be 81.9 plus 80 plus 80. That's going to be 241.9. Oh, I mean, not 80, 85. 85 and 85, okay? 81.9 plus 85 plus 85. That's going to be 251.9. That's my bad. All right, 251.9. So let's look at section 2 and see if their score is higher than 251.9. Okay, otherwise they're going to lose. So in this case, we're doing a condensed data table. It's not classes anymore. We like condensed data tables. They're very simple. Okay, so let's find my mean. How do I find my mean for a condensed data table? The formula is the sum of xi ni over n. So this is ni. This is my xi. That's my score. Okay. So let's take all of our scores, multiply them by their mean, by their frequency, I mean, and we're going to get our mean. So here we have 70 times 5 plus 80 times 12 plus 90 times 7 plus 100 times 4. We're going to divide that by n. N is going to be the sum of my frequencies. So 5 plus 12 is 17, plus 7 is 24, plus 4 is 28. So this is all divided by 28. So on top we've got 350 plus 960 plus 630 plus 400 divided by 28. So 350 plus 960 plus 630 plus 400 is 2,340 divided by 28. That's going to be 83.57. Okay. Mode. Which mark has the highest frequency? That's going to be 80, right? It occurred 12 times. So 80 occurred 12 times. And my median, okay, so for median, we're probably going to have to make a position column again. Let's do that right now. So positions. So 1 to 5, because of frequency of 5 here. After 5 is 6. 12 plus 5 is 17. Then we have 18 here. 7 plus 17 is 24. After 24 is 25. 4 plus 24 is 28. 28 and 28 match up, so we did it right. So median. We have n is 28, so it's even. So now we have to do n over 2 and n over 2 plus 1. So n over 2 is 28 over 2 is 14. Is the 14th position. Okay, here we're going to have 28 divided by 2 plus 1 is going to be 14 plus 1 is the 15th position. Okay, so what is my 14th position? It is going to be 80. And my 15th position is also going to be 80, right? 14 and 15 are both between 6 and 17. So 80 plus 80 divided by 2, that's 160 divided by 2 is 80. So the score for section 2 is going to be 83.57 plus 80 plus 80. Okay, it's going to be these three numbers here. So 83.57 plus 80 plus 80, that's 243.57. So let's look back up here, right, when we added these three numbers together. And we got 251.9. So 251.9 is greater. So let me write here, this is my score for section 2 actually. Okay. Box here, and I'll put a box here so it all looks nice. Okay. That box disappeared for some reason. Okay, strange. Okay, anyway, so 251.9 is bigger than 243.57, so section 1 wins. Okay, and that's about it for the test. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, I guess, so you can come talk to me in class, before or after class, lunch, remediation, anytime, okay? Come ask me questions. I don't mind, all right? Otherwise, I'll see y'all next time.